Alright guys, what is going on? This is round 2 of my ranker. This is going to be a Grandmasters hero tier list. That's good right there. Alright, we'll sit front and center. Here we go. Money. Alright, up first we have Adam Warlock. Now Adam Warlock is pretty solid. I would be fancy to put him at A tier. Actually, we're going to go ahead and put Adam Warlock S tier. I think Adam Warlock is really, really good. The limited healing can kind of be a little finicky, but as long as your other support is pumping out good heals, Adam Warlock is S tier. His ultimate is so clean. Like, the mass res is broken. His team up ability with Mantis and Star-Lord, absolutely fire. He does really good damage. And to be honest, his shift ability, where he does Soul Bond, crazy. If you're playing a character like Black Panther and you're trying to dive the backline and he uses that, I mean, it's just an absolute wrap. You can't kill anything. Survivability is really good. He's a little slow, like he doesn't have movement, but he just reses himself when he dies. So Adam Warlock definitely S tier. Iron Fist. A lot of Iron Fist being played in the upper ranks right now. Uh, I still don't think he's that good, but I mean, with the proper team comp built around him and like the proper support, he's very, very good. I just feel like with Hella Hawkeye getting banned every game, he's a lot more viable. But if those counters are in the game, like he just gets kind of poked out and he can get destroyed. But I put him at A tier. I think he's pretty good. He's in a good spot for sure. He's very, very fun to play. Iron Man needs his own category. With the current meta with the Hulk team up, Iron Man is S tier. Without it, he's probably like B tier. So without team up, I would just leave Iron Man B tier. If you pick him and you don't have a Hulk, like you can still do work, but he's not unstoppable. He doesn't add so much pressure to where you completely change the team fight. His ultimate is still pretty strong, but his ultimate is very good. It's just a little slow. Sometimes it's easy to dodge, but if properly timed, it's a massive ultimate. Jeff the Shark, our favorite fishy friend. Jeff, his healing is strong. His bubbles are really good. I think his ultimate is what makes me want to put him at A tier, maybe even S tier, just because like his ultimate is so ridiculously strong sometimes. But it can be countered. You can counter Jeff's ultimate with Namor. You can counter it with Magneto. You can counter it with pretty much any one-shot ultimate that you can just nuke Jeff the Shark. But I think Jeff Shark is A tier. I think he's pretty good. Loki. I might get some hate for this one, dude, but I think Loki's S tier. Not in this order, but I do think Loki is S tier. He's got the best ultimate in the game simply because he can choose any ultimate in the game, and he does. He's like a jack of all trades. Invisibility infinitely. He can teleport. He does pretty good damage, really good damage for support. His ultimate is fire. His healing is good. He has a mini support ultimate as his shift. Like Loki is definitely S tier. I think he's really, really good. And in the right hands, he's very, very, very annoying to play against. I've played against some monster Lokis where they just completely carried the game. Luna Snow, obviously S tier. She's probably going to be in the front of the pack for sure. Her ultimate is just, I mean, everybody. If you've played with the Luna Snow ultimate, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. She can hard carry games. It's actually insane. It's why she gets banned so much in GM and above, Diamond and above, honestly. Magic. Magic, I think, is A tier. However, I have had plenty of games where a really good Magic has just completely carried the game and no one could stop them. Um, I think Magic is kind of a lot like Doomfist in the aspect of like she does really, really well when in the right hands, but I don't know that she's S tier. I think she's A plus. She's very good, but she's not with like the proper team up like Magic, Panther, and Psylocke, crazy. Crazy DPS comp. Flankers everywhere, tons of damage. But just like a solo Magic, I mean they just run into Namor and Penny Parker, you can kind of just get shut down. So but I think Magic is very good. I think she's A tier. Magneto S tier, one of the best tanks in the game. Bubble is insane. His ultimate can cancel things. His shield can eat abilities like crazy. Um, his right click is really nice damage. I mean, paired with Scarlet Witch, he does wicked damage. Plus, his ultimate is the best voice line in the game. Fear Magneto goes crazy. So Magneto definitely S tier. Mantis, another S tier character, dude. Awesome damage, awesome healing uptime. If you're hitting headshots and refilling your leaves like crazy, tons of healing, fantastic ultimate. I mean, just crazy support. Tons of damage. Tons of damage amp. I mean, she's awesome. Moon Knight. Moon Knight is very annoying, but I think he's one of those gimmicky characters where like once you realize how to get rid of him, he's very diveable. His escape ability is not that good. He really only gets value out of the Onk spam and his ult every once in a while. So like paired with a cloak and dagger, he can kind of be a little more annoying, I guess, because he's harder to hit. Like I don't know. I think Moon Knight is actually B tier. Now that the game's been out for a little while and I've played enough games to where like I really even at the high level I do not find Moon Knight to be he's just annoying. He's just annoying. Like I don't think he's really like, oh my gosh, this Moon Knight's carrying. It's like yeah, I don't know. Namor, A tier or S tier? I would say Namor is an S tier DPS. Very underrated, I think. Still, he's starting to get picked a lot more. I start seeing a lot more Namor, but dude, he crazy ultimate. His shift is one of the best abilities for a DPS in the game. His survivability is nuts. Paired with a Luna Snow, dude, like he does wicked crazy damage. His turret uptime is insane. Every time you hit somebody, you get. I mean, I don't have to glaze. You guys know I play him. If you watch my last video, you know I love Namor. He's really really good. Panther. I'm gonna put Panther A tier. Now, all these dive characters I'm putting are A tier because they can be so easily countered to where like if you're not an absolute boss at the mechanics, these characters you will struggle on these characters. I'm not just saying for like all of the higher rank people either. I'm just saying for like low ranks as well. Like if you're gold, if you're plat, if you're silver, and they pick Penny Parker, they pick Namor, and you're playing these characters, like you will get shut down unless you have crazy mechanics. But it's just not likely. So, his ultimate is sick. I mean, it just helps him with his dives. I mean, I love Black Panther. Trust me, I used a lot of Black Panther to climb to GM. But he definitely crutches on the fact that if anybody picks these lockdown characters, he's just kind of cooked. Penny Parker. A lot of people think right now Penny Parker is trash. I would have to disagree. I think she's a niche pick, depending on what the enemy comp is running. She's a good counter pick, and sometimes she can shut down certain points on certain maps, like the convergence map on with Null's Essence on I forget the name of the map, but the one that everyone like Doctor Strange portals on, that map is very, very good with a good Penny Parker. But I would say she's probably maybe B tier. I don't think she deserves to be in C tier. I think she's probably B tier. Psylocke. Psylocke is actually probably one of the only DPS that's a flanker that I would put in S tier simply because her damage is crazy, her movement's insane. Her ultimate does really, really, really good value if it's timed right. Like you can force support. You have to force support ults out for her ult. So I think her ult is really good. And her DPS is just crazy. So I think that Psylocke is really strong. Rocket Raccoon. Slept on support for sure. Crazy movement. Really slept on heals. Slept on heals. Like they're not burst healing. It's very slow, but it's a ton of healing. His res beacon is insane. Also, his team up with Winter Soldier and Punisher, who are both really good picks. Insane DPS output, and his ult comes so fast and it wins team fights like nobody's business. It's such a slept on ult. Rocket Raccoon, all my Raccoon mains out there, let's get it. He's S tier for sure. I think he's S tier. Res will always, in these team based shooters, Res will always be crazy. Up next, we have Scarlet Witch. I think that's going to be our first C tier character, dude. Scarlet Witch is not great. I mean, it depends. In the lower ranks, like with the whole like you don't have to aim thing, I could see how she could be an issue, but her ult is really kind of not that hard to counter. She just doesn't have that much. Paired with a Magneto, then Magneto can go silly. But I don't see Scarlet Witch being all that much impactful. And like I don't see her very much in my games either. She's just not. I don't know. I don't see her being very strong. So I'm gonna put her at C tier. Up next, we have Spider-Man. Now, I've played against a lot of good Spider-Mans, but he's kind of in the same bracket as like these other dive characters. Like if you have a good Namorn or a good Penny Parker or like a good Squirrel Girl or somebody with CC, he doesn't really threaten that much. Just this is what I will say. He's B tier. He would be A tier or S tier had his cooldowns not been so bad. His cooldowns are really, really bad for him. They're really, really bad. Like the amount of time you can go in and be a menace is not nearly threatening as it could be. So like if he's not going in and getting 2 or 3 kills, because I feel like he's good at going in and blowing up one person and getting out. But the problem is like if they get any sort of peel, then his cooldowns are so long that like he has to wait to go in, and then he goes in again. If he gets no value, then he's got no value for 2 team fights, and it's kind of like whatever. So like I just feel like Spider-Man could be stronger, but he is definitely in the right hands. He's definitely very very strong. But I think overall, if you just picked up the hero tomorrow and tried to play him, you would be like, he's not the best character. Squirrel Girl. This character everybody thinks is like D or C tier. However, I've played a lot of her, and I think she is also probably B tier. She's very solid. She's not good all around, but her CC is crazy, and she does really slept on damage. She doesn't have any team ups that are really worth it, though. She teams up with Spider Man and has a nice AoE stun, but eh. It has a wind up, and it's I don't know. It's not instant cast, and it's kind of like whatever. Um, yeah, I think she could be better. Star also her ult is just whack. Star Lord, I'm gonna go A tier for Star Lord. I think Star Lord could be actually probably be S tier. His ult is insane. His movement is insane. Um, I personally wish Star Lord had a little bit more health, or if he had an overshield mechanic or something that didn't make him so easy to kill. I mean, if Hela's not in the game, Hawkeye's not in the game, they're banned. Like you can kind of go crazy on Star Lord. Um, but for now, I think he's definitely A plus. Storm, I gotta put Storm at C tier, dude. I don't think she's really bringing all that much to the table. Like her damage boost is sick and the movement boost is sick. But the fact that she has to A reload when she's throwing wind makes no sense to me. So the character could definitely not have a reload, and also she can't headshot, which I don't agree with that. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't really get that. Like, why can't she headshot? She should just be able to headshot. But the damage amp is crazy, and if you know how to use her AoE ability, you can actually do a lot of damage. Um, but yeah, I just think she needs to be a little bit stronger for me to want her in like a B or an A tier slot. Just having said that, by the way, all these B tier and up characters are viable. Um, C tiers, like you can make it work, but you got to be nuts at the character. Punisher A tier. I think Punisher is A tier, and in the right hands with the right team comp, he's actually S tier. But just if you're running Punisher with no team ups and you didn't have like a Mantis boost the whole game and stuff, and you're just flat out running Punisher, he's definitely just an A tier run of the mill character. But I do think he can be S tier. I've run into some really really nasty Punishers. Um, that character is kind of like the sky's the limit because if you're really really good at aiming, like you can make it cook. Thor. Now, this is coming from a GM perspective. I see a lot of feeding Thor. Like, I used to think he was really good, but his ult kind of sucks. And honestly, like, man, this is a hard one. I think paired with a Captain America or like another dive tank or maybe like a Magneto that can bubble him, Thor can be a very, very strong tank. But just by himself, I think Thor's like B tier, dude. Crazy take, but I don't think I really, really like he does good damage and he can take a lot of space. And if the whole team is flowing well together, Thor's like popping off and he's got a ton of health and he's hard to kill. Uh, but if you're just in a game and you're trying to solo tank for a team that doesn't communicate, you're very limited as to what you can get done with Thor. Um, I'm gonna move him to A tier though. I don't think he's B tier, but he's. I've seen a lot of feed in Thors. I've played a lot of Black Widow. I used to be a Widowmaker main in Overwatch for a period of time, and Black Widow just doesn't do it for me, man. I think obviously like she doesn't one shot, and it's like I don't really want a hit scan one shot character in this game because I've really been enjoying it, and that's coming from someone who probably has like 600 hours on Widow. Like I just don't think the game needs it. So there's a reason Hawkeye and Hela get banned every game. It's because no one wants to play against those characters. So I put her at D tier. No, she's not D tier. She's definitely C tier, but she could be better. But her being better is worse for everybody in the game, so she needs to just stay where she's at. Venom, that's a B tier tank. Venom creates a lot of space, but he's not super threatening when the backline works well together, and he just gets in, gets out, gets in, gets out. Like he kind of just he's like Wrecking Ball, but not nearly as threatening. Like if you played against a good Wrecking Ball, he completely disrupts the entire team. Venom, he doesn't really prey on anybody plat and above. I feel like, but like lower ranks, I could see a good Venom being an issue for y'all. But I mean, you just go Punisher and you just gun him down with a shotgun, and it's not anything he can do. Bucky is S tier. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if I get any flack for this. Bucky is literally S tier. I have run into some Winter Soldiers who have completely shut everyone in the game down. So twisted that the game was unwinnable from the start. We played a game where a guy went 66-5 on Bucky. No one could stop him. We were trying everything we could, and we were calming, and he was the nastiest player I've ever seen. Dude was on one. I wish I knew his name so I could give him credit. Yeah, his ultimate, if you know, you know. He's just nasty, bro. He's so nasty. And with the team up with Rocket, he goes crazy. Cloak and Dagger. You know, I think this character plays itself. I think she's also an S tier character. You're gonna see Cloak and Dagger in almost all your games. Cloak and Dagger's fire. Both the abilities on both sides. The blind with the extra damage taken, the heal, the bubble, auto aim on both sides of the field is crazy. Yeah, and the ult does crazy healing. Yeah, Cloak and Dagger is definitely S tier. Wolverine. Wolverine got a lot of hate in the beginning of the game. I think Wolverine is low key A tier. I think in the right hands, Wolverine is extremely strong, and he's very, very, very disruptive for the team if you cannot stop him. Obviously, like a Bucky is just the ultimate CC machine. You can shut a Wolverine down. Um, but yeah, I think Wolverine is probably more like A tier in the right hands. Bad Wolverine probably more like C or D tier, but a good Wolverine really is a problem. But you can counter him pretty easily if you go Magneto and you bubble and you go Bucky and you just CC him. Captain America. And my boy's gonna hate me for this because he plays a lot of Captain America. I think Captain America's B tier. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's got that good. I did get spawn camped like 5 times by a Captain America in one of my games though, and it was really annoying. But I think his survivability is great. And he's definitely just annoying when he's on. Actually, I changed my mind. Captain America's A tier for sure. He's just not S tier. He's not hanging up there with like the other great tanks in the game, but he's definitely a force to be reckoned with in the right hands. As are most of the characters in this game, which is why I love this game. Uh, Strange S tier. Strange is S tier. And this list is actually starting to come together because the more I look at the top, is the more I see in all my games. Yeah, Strange his ult is like one of the better ults in the game. Shield obviously is fire. Damage output is phenomenal. Playmaking with the port is just crazy. He's an awesome character. He's very fun to play and to have on your team. Is definitely Doctor Strange. Hawkeye S tier simply because he's a one-shot character. The only one-shot character really is just yeah, it speaks for itself. I mean that kind of thing is in a team-based shooter getting an insta pick like that and maybe multiple a fight it's just S tier. Like you can't. There's nothing you can do other than ban the character and try to out and like dive him. But if you get against a really good Hawkeye, it's just cooked. Groot, my boy, the tree. I think Groot is A tier. In the right hands, Groot is an S tier tank. But I do think that Groot gets melted pretty quickly. And if you don't have the right positioning team comp, you can get fried as Groot. But I do love playing some Groot. He's probably my second most played tank. He does wicked damage, and his ult is awesome. I need to make a Groot guide actually because a lot of people don't play him correctly, and it actually is starting to irk me. Even in my GM games, I see people wasting walls and not playing him correctly. So I think the next guide I make will be a Groot guide. Hela S tier, disgusting character. Unfortunately, I have Lord on Hela because I'm a gremlin, and that's just how I am. But I don't even get to play Hela in my rank game. She's banned every game. But I had to learn how to play Black Panther and Namor and some other characters. But yeah, Hela is definitely S tier. Her ult's crazy. her survivability is pretty good with her shift. It doesn't go very far, but it definitely gets you out of certain situations. And obviously, her damage is just ridiculous. I mean, you can just fry people with headshots. Plus, her team up with Thor and Loki is pretty busted. And then last but not least, we have Mr. Banner. And I think with the team ups, Hulk is S tier. However, I think if they were to change the team ups and nerf it heavily, Hulk would be played much less because I do not think Hulk by himself is necessarily a good tank. But with the Iron Man Doctor Strange combo, he's very strong because it makes the whole team crazy. But if it were just Hulk and you didn't have any other tanks and it's just Hulk and no Iron Man and no Strange, Hulk's probably like fucking B tier, dude. He's not doing all that much by himself. Uh, but with the team up, he's like S tier. So. And I want to get one final look at this list. Do I want to put anybody in D tier? I legitimately am kind of shocked by this list. Looking at it now, but I do agree with it. I don't think there's a single D tier character in this game, mainly because the game is so good. All these characters are so good. Like, you can make pretty much anything work, which is why I love this game. They didn't throw any garbage characters in there that you just can't play. Like, they're all pretty solid. But anyway, I'm gonna be making more content. If you like the video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what video you guys want next in the comments below, and I will be sure to make it. I'll make guides if y'all want. I will make, whatever. If you guys enjoyed, I saw a few comments where people wanted more videos explaining like positioning and map knowledge and ultimate guides and hero counters and things like that. If you guys want any of those videos, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to make them. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.